So when you do spiritual sadhana, when we notice somebody is becoming very intense, first thing is, I will gift them a simple copper ring, which they must wear. They must wear and they cannot remove without permission. Because if this simple metal is on the ring finger, when they get into certain states of exuberance, by accident they will not slip out of the body. When I looked, she was gone, with a big smile on her face. Then I looked, she has removed her nose ring, she's removed her bangles, she removed her toe rings. She did not know intellectually, but at that moment she felt, this is what is stopping me.
Your book, Mystic's Musings, which I read many years ago when I lost my brother, my younger brother, and it was a great tragedy in the family and something that I was finding very difficult to cope with. It gave me great amount of courage and made me feel much better. Also, it talked a lot about spirits, it talked a lot about life being a continuous process. In that, you write about when you and your wife, everybody was constructing the Dhyanalingam. And you talk about how the thread of life or the grasp of life, something to that effect, became very fragile when she could not hold on to it and she passed away. What exactly did you mean by that?
The life within you manages to stick to the physicality of who you are. Physicality is something that you gathered. It is not you, it is material, it is just a piece of this planet. What you gathered from the planet, if it has to stick to the life that you are, you must be in a certain level of reverberance. If you drop in intensity below a certain point, you can't hold it. That is called as dying of old age. If you have seen anybody close up who are dying of old age, you will see his eyes become feeble, life becomes feeble. It's like the body is struggling to hold it, but it can't hold because it's become too feeble. If the reverberation goes below a certain level of intensity, it can't stick to the body, it will leave. So that is generally understood as leaving peacefully because without struggle it just passed on. So that is if the intensity drops. Another way to leave is you raise the pitch of life's intensity to such a pitch, it went beyond normal pitch, then also you leave the body. So spiritual sadhana is trying to get the pitch of your life to the highest point, because only if the intensity of life is high, it's like the voltage is high, that's why the lights are bright. If your voltage is low, the lights will be dim, your awareness will be dim, your perception will be dim, all you will know is just survival process. So you want to pitch it up. So when you pitch it up beyond a certain point, there is always a danger that you will slip out. So we will fix certain things. We will fix certain things when a spiritual aspirant is progressing with a certain rapidity, we will fix the body in a certain way so that that cannot happen. Just yesterday, ashram satsang, when we were there, one lady asked, why women are asked to wear toe rings when they get married? Because marriage was supposed to be such a huge experience that they could leave the body. At the age of 8, they would marry them. They will never see each other till they're 14 or 15. But emotionally, psychologically, she is cultivated to believe that her husband is like God. When she meets him, life will explode. That possibility in the child's mind has built up. When she is physically mature, she is brought into marriage. Because in this country, in this culture, there is no business, there is no marriage, there is no child, there is no family. Everything is just a tool towards your liberation and mukti. You get married because you want to use that as a tool to your liberation. You raise children because you want to use that as a tool to your liberation. You become a sannyasi because you want to use that. It does not matter what you do, everything is towards your mukti or liberation. Because of this, they nurtured this girl and boy in such a way that for 4 to 6 years, they have not seen each other, but they're made to believe when they meet, something is going to happen. In the child's mind, it's grown to such a big possibility. Something does not mean like how today's teenagers are thinking, something means there's only one thing, there's no something, okay? They're not thinking about that one thing alone. It is not just two bodies meeting, not just two minds and emotions meeting, two lives being merged into one. So we created various devices, there's something called as Mangal Sutra. Sutra means… what is a kite in Hindi?
Patang.
Patang, is it? You have a sutra for that?
Yeah, door.
So if you have the right kind of sutra, the kite will fly. So the Mangal Sutra is that you prepare it in certain way. It's an energy thread and you're supposed to replace it every year. Somebody who knows what it is gives you a live sutra, matches the husband and wife, their energies in such a way, they are not just bound in body, mind and emotion, they're bound as two lives. Any number of events have happened like this in the past, which is becoming more and more rare these days. If a man or a woman dies, within 40 days, the husband or wife will also just die. Have you heard of this?
Yes, yes.
There was a time when the film people were singing Janam, Janam, all that. Now they're talking expiry date for relationships. No Janam, Janam songs anymore?
No Janam Janam songs. No.
Because the idea was to bind two lives. How the bodies match, how the minds match, emotions match is not important. Two lives are entwined. So, there is a kind of bonding. Many of them have never spoken to each other, there is a bonding which is unexplainable. The sense of bond that they felt was so deep because it was a scientific process of binding two lives in such a way that there is no question of compatibility, this, that, it doesn't matter. You marry a devil, still you're bound and you feel an ecstatic sense within you simply because of the union within yourself, not because of what somebody else is doing. So now in a marriage, what somebody else is doing or what your husband or wife is doing doesn't matter, just the way you are is an explosive experience. This is how a lot of women lived in the past, because the process was very scientific and it was done properly. So they put this metal on the toes and also on the ring finger always, because if there is metal on certain strategic places in your body, you will not accidentally leave your body. So when you do spiritual sadhana, when we notice somebody is becoming very intense, first thing is, I will gift them a simple copper ring, which they must wear. They must wear and they cannot remove without permission. Because if this simple metal is on the ring finger, when they get into certain states of exuberance, by accident they will not slip out of the body. So, she got into such exuberant states. Naturally, certain little bit of jewelry things were there. These things were never discussed till that point. The many things I refuse to discuss because devices will work well only when people do not know how it works. So we just put it on people, we never explain. But when this situation happened, I had to explain what happened. She sat there on a full moon day evening with everybody. There were people around, and after 5 minutes, it is in the shrine, she got up and went. My eyes are closed, I knew she got up. I got little irritated, because nobody ever gets up once they sit down. Till we say it is time, nobody ever gets up. And of all the people, my wife getting up and going, little irritation in me. Why is she getting up of all the people? Then I ignored it and I sat down. After 5 minutes, she came and sat down. In another 7, 8 minutes, she just went like that. When I looked, she was gone, with a big smile on her face. Then I looked, she has removed her nose ring, she's removed her bangles, she removed her toe rings. See, she did not know intellectually, but at that moment she felt this is what is stopping her. And she pulled out all those things, kept next to the wash basin and came back. And she sat down within 7, 8 minutes. But this is not something that happened accidentally. She announced this almost 9 months ahead of time. She had prepared, my girl who was only 7 years at that time, that she's going to leave in this month, but it happened 1 month early for various reasons, so that's a different aspect. But this is not new in this country. Any number of yogis just sit down, announce to everybody and leave their body. She was not somebody who was steeped in spiritual sadhana. She's just a very alive, she's either up or down, you know. She's either absolutely exuberant or down. She doesn't know the in-between. She's not somebody whom you would consider a yogi or established in sadhana, nothing like that. She's a very exuberant person and that's all it takes. That you're alive, that's all it takes. It's not that you know this or that, you're just 100% alive. That's the only qualification you need. And she started working towards it, she announced it 9 months ahead, and we tried to sabotage it in so many ways to slow it down, but it went the way it went.